Hello, Baruch.
Hello, Rabbi.
Good. We're able to find the time in the middle of the day because Kodesh Baruch Hu wants us to find the time in the middle of the day. Yeah.
On my way, I'm driving now to work. To school.
Let's wait a few minutes, see if we get some other participants. Meantime, it's just you and I. Mm-hmm. Did you get the resume?
Yes, thank you, Rabbi.
All right. All right, so we're doing Hilchos Chanukah up to Siman Tov Reish Ayin Aleph. And just to review that Chanukah, what the Hashmonaim, the Kohanim, accomplished was to bring the purity of the, I would call the Anivus of Aaron HaKohen, which is opposite of everything that the Greeks stood for. The Greeks represented self-preoccupation and grandeur and self-aggrandizement, including their way they saw their gods and their behavior and their philosophy, which, if as long as it made sense to them, then it was true, and if it didn't make sense to them, then it was false thinking, and that's how they discounted Torah. So Chanukah is the recognition that Kodesh Baruch Hu's intervention depends upon, is always there, and when we're open to it and when we're ready to see the light of a Kodesh Baruch Hu's presence in our world, then the world changes. Then we're able to because that's the reality is that's the Ratzon Hashem, that which we see the world and its powers and etc. are not the Ratzon of Hashem, and it's there only to hide, to cause darkness. And they call it the Shalosh Chazal that Yavan represents the Orla, represents the covering that blocks the heart, that blocks it's the part of the body that blocks our ability to maintain Kedusha. So the were kaveya as man simcha, but not yemei zman mishta, because it's a spiritual celebration. It's a celebration of reconnecting to Kadosh Baruch Hu at a very pure level, and it doesn't require, and therefore doesn't require mishta. It doesn't require celebration in the way of like Purim, because it's bringing out that inner light that needs to bring revealed in the world to dispel the hesteponim of the corruption of Yavan. And that's the way we started off. That's the way we started off the discussion on Hilchos Chanukah. That's the way the Torah Berekas gives us a frame of reference for Hilchos Chanukah. Hilchos Chanukah is to recognize how to, or to come to Hakara, the Pesum and Nisa, that Kodesh Baruch Hu Ratzon is really what drives this world, and that everything else that we're doing is just is a facade of really what the Ratzon of Kodesh Baruch Hu is. So when we do that, when we recognize it's a time for Simcha, so then there's no hesped and there's no fasting, because these are the things that are acknowledging when something is missing in our world. If somebody dies, so we felt that our world has lost something. But when we're talking about what's the real Ratzon Hashem is the connection between ourselves and our neshama and the Kodesh Baruch Hu, then we recognize that everything has its place and its purpose, and that we don't get preoccupied with the loss. We get preoccupied with the light that needs to be revealed. So yes, we can have su'udas on Chanukah, which become a sudas mitzvah as long as we start as a zmiris and Torah. If we bring it to Chanukah, to a sudas Chanukah, zmiris and Torah, then the suda on Chanukah becomes a sudas mitzvah. Otherwise, there's no chiyuv to have a sudas mitzvah, because we're looking for what Chanukah offers us is clarity of our neshama, clarity of our connection to Kadosh Baruch Hu. The Kadosh Baruch Hu, Pesumanisa, Hashem's power can be obvious in every part of our world. So that's where we've come to. That's where we're starting off. Come to the beginning of Tafresh Ayin Aleph, the Siman Tafresh Aleph, which is Seder Halachas Ner Chanukah b'Makom Anchoseh, how to do the Neres Chanukah, and the place that and where to place the Neres Chanukah. So let's wait another couple of minutes, and then we'll. Also, just to review, the reason why it has to come through Kohanim was because that was Hashem promised Aaron HaKohen, that Aaron HaKohen, because of his anivus, because of his ability to give a bracha, we say a full bracha to Klal Yisrael. So Koi Sabrachas Bnei Yisrael, with Koi, with Chafei, Aaron HaKohen is able to give that bracha to Klal Yisrael, which is a selfless bracha. As it says in the bracha for Birchas Ka'anim, Shekit Shalom says, "B'tzvon leBarachas Am Yisrael, b'Kedushas Shel Am b'Ahava," right? That the whole Birchas Ka'anim is a pouring out of bracha to others, and therefore Koi becomes Chanukah. It becomes the place where the Chavhei of Koi Sabrachas Bnei Yisrael became obvious. Therefore, it had to come through Kohanim. Therefore, Chanukah, the whole Nes of Chanukah had to come through Kohanim. It had to become through that which was given to Aaron HaKohen as the Avtach promised. Hashem promised Aaron HaKohen, that which he gives to Chanukah's HaMishkan, which is the lighting of the menorah, is the one part which will last for all future days. That Chanukah is the light of Aaron HaKohen, which was a promise that Hashem gave to him that will last for all the days, whereas the rest of the Mishkan would fall. And the reason why women are part of the part of Tzumanisa is because since the nitzochen of the economy, even the motivation that the economy should stand up and fight for the kedusha of Klal Yisrael was generated by Yehuda's bas Matashir Kohen Gadol. Which she said, are you going to simply allow your sister, your daughter to become tummy by the hands of the goyim, and therefore she killed the general and cut off his head. Showed that if you stand up for what you believe in, the impossible can be accomplished. That a woman should kill a great general was in itself a nace that took place, and it motivated this tremendous amount of response that the rest of the army fled from, because they saw how strong the koyach of kedusha of Klal Yisrael was. So we'll take a look just at the beginning of Siman Tafresh Ayin Aleph, and I'll read it for you because I know you're driving, so I'll give you a Torah Shebal Peh. Siman Sif Aleph. You have to be very careful about the Neres of Chanukah. Even a poor person who is supplied his needs from the tzibur, from tzedakah, shoel, he's allowed to borrow, or even to sell his own clothing, and to buy oil to light the menorah. So the Mishnah Berurah immediately points out something which then sort of like begs an explanation. The Mishnah Berurah Simchat Aleph says the Gemara tells us Haragel b'ner, whoever is careful with the Neres Chanukah, Haveli Banim Talmidei Chachamim, will have children who will be Talmidei Chachamim. Shenemar, as it says, Kiner Mitzvah v'Torah Or. Upirish Rashi. Also Rashi says Pshat in this pasuk in Tehillim, Ner Mitzvah, the Shabbos v'Chanukah. That the Ner Mitzvah of Shabbos and Chanukah is Torah Or, means that the person will have Torah light shining in their through their lives, and their children will be Talmidei Chachamim. So it's it's like it's immediately leap between Pisum and Isa being involved in something that says, take a look at the Nes that took place, and that the bracha of the Ner of the menorah will shine into our lives when we light the menorah, and the Ner is Shabbos, Ner Shabbos and Ner Chanukah. So that we are just like Aaron the Kohen and Aaron's descendants would be that would bring the light of Kedusha back to the more that happens, the more that we're able to bring light. So then the Avtach that Hashem gave to Aaron the Kohen, that his children will be Kohanim Gedolim, mean that we have the bracha of the bracha with children will come to this world, will have the same bracha that Hashem gave to Aaron the Kohen. And that if we're careful in their Chanukah, then we'll have Banim Talmidei Chachamim. We'll have children who will be following and have that light, the perpetuation of the light of Neres Chanukah. Was therefore to spend the time and the effort and the money even to, as you said, the Sif Beis, Vafilo Ani, even the poor person, right? So the Mishnah Berurah brings down Mishum. It's again from the Poskim. The reason why an Ani should be where to go to all these lengths. So he says Mishum Pernus Tu Menisa, because you're going to be, if a poor person if there's a mefarsim the nes, so then the ani is no longer will remain an ani. And therefore, Simchat Gimel shows that he should borrow money. It means he should go around and ask from door to door. To sell his clothing, or to put himself to work. How much does he have to do with this? One candle. Doesn't have to have all 8 candles burning. 1 candle is enough. If a person can accomplish even one little bit of light on Chanukah, that's worth it. It's worth the effort. It's worth going out and schnorring money, goes out to ask people to give him money. It's worth it because Chanukah and the Pesum Nisa, the greatness of the nes that can come on Chanukah, is the nes with which Chazal recognize. I don't need to tell me that if you have a beautiful menorah and you're celebrating with the family and children that's important. But even if it's not, even if a person is poor and has nothing, Ner Chanukah is important. All right, Baruch, I think it looks like you have to leave. So, Be'ez Hashem, we'll continue again tomorrow. Okay. Take care.
Shkoyach Rabba.
Shalom Reb Shlomo. I didn't know you were there.
I was here the whole time.
Yeah. Part of the problem with it, I should use my computer. I actually got a webcam for my computer so I could see everybody on the screen at the same time.
And Ezra's on too.
There you are. See, if I move it around, I actually see it. Shalom Ezra. So we'll continue just a little bit the thoughts. As we talked about last week, the Neres Chanukah, or the Nes of Chanukah, which is continuation of Aaron Kohen's Chanukah HaMishkan, is being the iris of the menorah as his what he has to offer to Klal Yisrael. And he felt bad, and he said, what you will be doing is going to be greater because you will be able to continue that light all the way through the future days, which is Ner Chanukah. tells us that sometimes the things that we think are not significant, they don't carry the flashiness, they don't carry all of the externalities of that which is seen in public. Aaron Cohen says, look, what do I have? I have nothing to offer. I'm not asked to offer anything to the tzibur. So what is Hashem says? That's right. Just offer the light. Just offer the light. That's all you have to do. That offering the light can accomplish more than all of the externalities, all the pomp and ceremony of the Chanukah HaMishkan. And it's such a profound insight. We would say, Yiddish Zach. It really represents what Klal Yisrael is different between ourselves and the nations, the world around us. That it's not what is flashy. It's not what's on the outside. It's not the ceremony of religion that makes Klal Yisrael different. It's the other of it. It's the inner light, that connection to Torah, the connection, bring that Shechina into the world. That's the presumanis of Chanukah. And that was really what the Yavanim were. That's what the Yavanim were mistagid. They didn't want the Torah, Rosh Chodesh, Mila. They didn't want those things which are not significant to the rest of the world. The rest of the world, new month, change it, flip the calendar page, right? You got a new month. That's for us. Every Rosh Chodesh is a new Ar, right? And that's why such swarms, Chassidish swarm, B'nai Yissaschar is the most pronounced one, where he talks about every month, about the different midas of every single month. Because every Chodesh comes with a different Ar, and we're misdabig in the Ar of each Chodesh. So then every month, it's not just flipping a page, okay, now I'm going to write a different number on my check. But it's the connection of Zman, to Kodesh Baruch Hu, and the Kodesh that the Kodesh Baruch Hu puts in this world. We're aware of that. We're aware of Zman. We're Mekadesh Yisrael. There's Mekadesh Yisrael v'Zmanim. The Baruch Hu gives us the Kodesh to Mekadesh Zman. So when we come into this Zman of Chanukah, it's the Ur that is available, that comes through the selflessness of the Kohanim, both in terms of Aaron HaKohen throughout the Doros, and then the Chashmonaim, and their selflessness, the willingness to give their own lives for the Kedusha of Klal Yisrael. That's the Presumanisa. That's the greatness. That's the Nes. I just wanted to comment because it was when in the 5-minute Divrei Chizuk that I gave yesterday. It's a Sephorna on Parshas Noach, and he says when the Baruch Shem, after Noach brings the carbon after he comes out of the table, brings the carbon, and the Baruch Shem says, "Vayom Hashem liboy," to make sure that that from this point on, cold and heat and day and night will ever stop. And Rashi says it seems that during the Mabul there was no Yom B'Layla. The world was in darkness. But he says, so what's with the says, what does it mean? And what was there? Was there cold and heat? Was there seasons before? He says there weren't. Before the Mabul, the world spun on its axis in perfect rotation to the sun. And therefore there was no winter and summer. The world was equally, it's a Chodesh Aviv continuously. The world had fixed, in our world, that's where there would be an ice age, because the caps that would be far away from the sun would be encased within ice. But he says, so what has changed? The Rosh Hashanah tilted the world, tilted the globe. So now there's Kar v'Chaim, now there's winter and summer, because as the world spins at a different angle to the sun, so now we can have Kar v'Chaim, Yom v'Layla. They change now. Days become longer, and nights become shorter, and nights become longer, days become shorter. It's all a product of HaKadosh Baruch Hu saying, now that Noach has brought his carbon, you see that can change the reality of our world. And therefore, it's just sort of like such a phenomenal thought. It's Because Seforno was a doctor, so he thought we say maybe in a scientific term, what changed with the Mabul? It changed because it just tilted the world a little bit. Just a tilt of the world, tilted the axis of the world. Such a beautiful thought. So I love this. Yeah, those type of thoughts are such, they generate such, pique my interest tremendously. All right, so Bez Hashem, tomorrow we will continue so Tafei Shayin Aleph, and Bez Hashem we'll go through the Mechaber and the Ramah tomorrow, and Bez Hashem we're going to get into some more of the deeper thoughts of the Neros of Chanukah and how important Kol Hazor B'Ner Chanukah Havel Leibonim Tamid Chachamim. That's a tremendous insight. Everybody have a wonderful day. Bez Hashem we'll learn tomorrow.
Shkoyach Rebbe. Have a great day.
Okay. Take care. I apologize for yesterday. We were traveling to Baltimore yesterday, so I wasn't sure if I would be able to stop at 3:00, but I was Mevakachel, my brother-in-law. So Bez Hashem, we'll talk tomorrow.
Yes, Abby.
Uh,
Go ahead.
the mass